What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome back to another Should You Pull video, where I give you my thoughts and opinions for upcoming banners for Dissidia Opera Omnia. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at the Mission Dungeon banner that's coming this month in June 2020. This will give us the chance to get Cyan's EX and Fujin's EX, which are both brand new to the global version of the game. You can also grab their 15 and 35 CP, and the third wheel for this one is going to be Vanille, which you can also grab her EX, 15 and 35 CP weapon. Now there is another banner that's coming out alongside with this one, but I will be concentrating more on this particular banner. Now before we do start, as always, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel to grow and of course helps with the YouTube algorithm as well, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Now without further ado, let's start this video. Okay guys, we'll start this video off with Cyan's rework, which he will be getting upon the release of this event. So the biggest changes for Cyan's abilities, basically for both of them, is a lot of extra usage for his skills. Now, of course, that's not the only change, so let's concentrate on the Concentrate Fang extend first. So this gets additional 4 uses, and now Concentration Fang will improve the speed up buff that it has and extends its duration by 2, and slightly improving the concentration, which is the attack up, and also lowering the action delay. This will not increase the turn count anymore, however it still decreases the friend support and the summon action count, and it does not consume any ability uses, which is really nice. That means all the concentration stuff doesn't actually use up an ability, and you will only use up the ability once you actually use the actual ability itself, if you get what I mean, what it transforms into, which is the Bushido Fang, which is now going to be a 4-hit, will have a 4-hit Brave attack and will increase the total Brave potency. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150% of his max Brave and will now actually trigger an HP attack after use, which is one of the other biggest changes for both his abilities. This will also deal a 50% splash damage to non-targets, and while breaking a target or attacking a broken target, this will now remove 3 buffs from its target. Now let's take a look at his ability 2, which is Concentrate Dragon. And so this again increases the number of uses to 4 by 4, and when you're using Concentration Dragon, tremendously increasing the Brave gain based on his initial Brave, and moderately improving the max Brave up and extending its duration by 2, and slightly improving the concentration, again the attack up version of it. And this will again lower the action delay, does not increase the turn count, does not consume ability uses, however still decreases the friend support and summon action count. Now when you're using Bushido Dragon, this increases the Brave hit to 5, increasing its Brave potency, will have a 180% max Brave overflow, and slightly increases the HP recovery limit of this one as well. This will also raise his Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt. Now let's take a look at his EX weapon called the Kiko Ichimonji. This will give him the EX ability Tsubame Geishi, which is going to be a 6-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, which also ignores the enemy's defense and buff effects. This will have a 150% max Brave overflow limit and granting him the Samurai's Pride buff for 3 turns. Now the Samurai Pride buff, while this is active, will give him access to both the plus variant for both his Brave plus HP attack. Basically, the Brave Attack Plus will be a 3-hit Brave attack, which ignores defense. HP Attack Plus will be a 2-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, which also ignores the defense and will have a 120% max Brave overflow limit. Samurai's Pride also raises his initial Brave, max Brave, and attack. However, after use, this will revert both his Bushido Fang and Bushido Dragon back to the Concentrate version, regardless of what buff you have. This will have a slow recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 this will improve the Brave damage dealt, and at 2 out of 3 extends the duration of Samurai's Pride by 3 turns, and finally at 3 out of 3 slightly raising the recast speed of Tsubame Geishi. Now if you do decide that you really like Cyan's kit and realize his weapon as 0 out of 3, this will increase the Brave potency and increasing the max Brave over the limit of the Stolen Brave. At 1 out of 3, this will moderately increase his max Brave and slightly increasing his attack. At 2 out of 3, he will have Samurai's Pride buff up for 6 turns at the start of the quest. And at 3 out of 3, when you're using Tsubame Geishi or D plus variant, this becomes the 5-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, which is executed twice, and tremendously increasing the Brave potency and slightly again increasing the max Brave overflow limit of Stolen Brave. And when his HP is over 80% of his max Brave, this will have the plus variant, which in just increasing its Brave potency once more and removing the 3 buffs from all enemies, I should say, and cleanses the party of all debuffs. Now the bonus sphere you're getting for this one is called Break Hit Attack Advance Long. When breaking target or attacking a broken target, this will raise your attack and max Brave overflow limit of Stolen Brave by 5% for 6 turns. Okay guys, so after hearing all this information regarding Cyan's rework and of course his EX and his EX Plus, how much should you be investing ingots wise if you do decide that you really like Cyan? Now, in all honesty, to me, you really gotta go 3 out of 3 with this one. His kit is very interesting in my opinion. He has debuff removals, which is very scarce at the moment in the game. There are only quite a few characters that can actually do this pretty well. I think I can count 5 characters including him. So there's Faris, which can remove all the buffs. There's Yuffie that can snatch a few buffs. There's Vanille, obviously, that can destroy all the buffs. And there is Balthier, which can steal a few buffs, and now Cyan as well. So if you're lacking on a Dispeller type character, Cyan is not a bad choice. But I feel like you really need to go 3 out of 3 to take advantage of this, because you have to have him in a certain stance to remove those buffs. And basically, if you have his EX Plus at 3 out of 3, you don't actually need to be in that particular stance, because his ability 2 stance basically deals more damage. It has more of an overflow to it, whereas the other one has a lesser overflow but removes the buffs. But if you have him at 3 out of 3, you can take advantage of not being on that stance, because as long as your HP is over 80% and you have the plus variant for his Tsubame Geishi, you can remove those buffs. So I think it's well worth going 3 out of 3 for Cyan. As a minimum, you can probably get away with 2 out of 3 if you don't really need that removal debuffs, but I honestly feel like 3 out of 3 is the way to go. Alright guys, now let's move on to Fujin's rework, which is also coming out at the release of this event. Let's take a look at her first ability, Metsu, and its extension. This will get 2 extra uses, which I do believe previously there was only 1 extra use. This will have an increase in Brave hit counts to 4, increasing its Brave potency. Now it will also trigger an AoE HP attack after use, and the HP damage dealt is going to be split equally amongst all enemies. This will slightly improve the speed up and will grant her a new buff called Silent Wind for 6 turns. This will also have a lower action delay. Now Silent Wind basically replaces the enchant part of Fujin previously. Now it will just be 1 buff for her instead of spreading it out. So Silent Wind raises her attack. The party's attack. This is a party-wide effect. It raises their attack, grants Enchant Wind, and grants Brave Regen as well. When using Metsu, the Stolen Brave can overflow to 150% of her max Brave, and the plus variant will have a 180% max Brave overflow. Now let's take a look at her second ability, Psy. This will get extra 3 uses. The Brave hit count will increase to 5, increasing the Brave potency, slightly improving the attack up, and also granting the Silent Wind buff for 6 turns. This will have a 50% HP splash damage to non-targets, and when you're using Psy, this will have a 120% max Brave overflow, and at the plus variant will have a 150% max Brave overflow, and this will gain her access to her Brave Attack Plus, which will now become an AoE attack when we'll have 2 hit counts and slightly increasing the total Brave potency. Okay, now let's take a look at her EX weapon called Fujin's Moon Ring. This will give her the EX ability called Tai, which is going to be a 6-hit AoE wind range brave plus HP attack. This will have moderately increasing damage when there's only a single target. This will have 100% HP damage dealt to all enemies and will enter the wind stance for 6 turns. This will have a slightly slow recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 this will increase the brave damage dealt. At 2 out of 3 this will inflict Razor Wind debuff on all targets for 3 turns. Now basically Razor Wind is going to be a 3-hit wind brave attack. Basically after enemies turns, think of it as like Farius's EX ability buff. This time it is going to be a debuff. I guess you can think of it as Vanille's trap as well, to a lesser, this is a much better version of that, at least in my opinion. And this debuff will also have like a easier to initiate chase sequence, so think of it as like Leo's force debuff. So basically a 2-in-1 debuff that Fujin will be applying on the enemy. At 3 out of 3 this will slightly raise the recast speed for Tai. Now if you decided that you really like Fujin's rework and decided to realize this weapon, at 0 out of 3 this will slightly increase the brave potency, increasing the max brave overflow to 120%, and will now also inflict a wind resist down debuff for 4 turns. At 1 out of 3 this will moderately raise the max brave and her attack. At 2 out of 3 when the quest starts, this will now give her a medium attack up and silent wind up buff for 6 turns, and will also enter the wind stance for 6 turns. Now at 3 out of 3 when using Tai, the brave hit count increases to 10 and tremendously increasing the total brave potency, slightly increasing the max brave overflow, raising the allies brave based on the HP damage dealt, and will also initiate a chase sequence on the hit. Now at 3 out of 3 also you will have access to her HP attack plus while you are on that wind stance. This will be a 3-hit wind range brave plus HP attack, and the stolen brave can overflow up to 120%, and this also raises the allies brave based on the HP damage dealt. The bonus sphere you're getting for this one is full HP critical speed down all. When HP is maxed and dealing critical hits, this will lower the target speed by 10% for 6 turns. Okay guys, so after hearing all this information regarding Fujin's rework, and of course all the EX and EX Plus, how much should you be investing on Fujin in terms of your ingots? Honestly, I really want to say 2 out of 3, but you really need 3 out of 3 for Fujin here as a minimum. The main reason for this is basically that HP attack plus. It's the longevity reason that I always seem to say. It's very important because having a slightly slow recast speed to start off with the buff, I do believe it will be normal. I still can't get that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it should be normal speed now. You're still gonna be using quite a bit of your abilities, and honestly, if you can get away with using an HP attack here or there, you probably would want that. Again, longevity reasons. It's not like she's getting much out of like HP attack wise. It's not triggering twice. The only thing is the increase in brave hit counts and of course the overflow, which is okay. However, this does initiate a chase sequence as well. So if you like using Lale, his EX kind of is the same. However, with Fujin, she does increase the allies' brave based on the HP damage dealt she does first before initiating the chase. That means they will have a much higher brave count. That means more HP damage during the chase sequence. So honestly speaking, I think 3 out of 3 is the way to go. You know, 2 out of 3 is nice, but you really want that 3 out of 3 so you can make use of her full potential. Alright guys, so we're at the end of this video and the final question remains, should you pull? This is a big maybe for me. at least for you guys, I am definitely going to be using tickets on this particular banner because I do not own any of the 3 EX weapons on this banner, and I would love to finally get Vanille's EX weapon. And you know, if I get Fujin, that's great. If I get Cyan, I don't really plan on using him that much. But in terms of if you really want to pull on this, do try to use your tickets first. Try not to use too much of your gems, because as we all know, Case is coming up pretty soon, and Arciela is still out at the time of this recording, so they are probably much more viable to pick up rather than these two. They are going to be much more useful, especially for new players. Yeah, so I think tickets are the way to go. If you really like these characters, of course, if they're your favorites, go ahead and use your gems. They are going to be, you know, they're going to be okay in terms of chaos difficulty, and they're going to be very helpful as well, regardless. But all I have to say is there is a one character that's really gonna be broken, and if you're really low on resources, you might as well wait for that one and see how your luck goes with that one before maybe coming back on this banner. Anyway guys, I think that's it for this video. Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel to grow, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. It helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. Hit that bell button if you don't want to miss any videos that I release. And before I go into like all the ending stuff as well, I do realize some of you guys want the alternative characters to come back. I kind of gave up on that idea because a lot of people were saying, you know, it's confusing new players more, or it doesn't make sense. You know, they try to compare the characters, but to me, I gave up on the idea on comparing characters. I was doing it more for an alternative option. So it's not comparing them, but you know, like if you have certain characters like a support character that heals, I would recommend an alternative healer character. That's what I was aiming for that one. And I know a lot of you, well, some of you actually wish it to come back. I'm still on the fence with that because previously a lot of people didn't really like the idea. Some were just okay with it. So I'm really at an impasse right now. If a lot of you really like it, then leave more comments down below and let me know. Now, if there's a lot more I guess requests from you guys about it, I may put it back into my videos. Anyway, that's it. Remember to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. And as always, leave down in the comments below if you are after this banner, and let me know who you're really after in this banner. Is it Fujin, is it Cyan, or is it Vanille? Let me know down in the comments below. This is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.